Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Tonight, Friday, the 20th of November 2015, a very late night, just before midnight. And here is the latest on the shipping indexes and the markets affect the same. The BDI, the Baltic Dry Index, collapsed. It went below the 500 points mark and is now standing at 498 points. This is 1,776 points below the levels that we've been discussing all through these 2 years of December 2013 at 2,274 points. This, if you recall, 498 points is 11,249 points from the highest that the index had climbed in May 2008 when it stood at 11,747 points. All along, we've been warning you of what was going to happen in the market and what one should have done. The BCI, the most volatile of all indexes, was down 13 points at 606, which is on the other hand 203 points since last week's 809 points. The Panamaxes, the best so far performing index in comparison with the others, was down just 5 points at 463, which is 51 points since last week's 514 points. The Supras down 7 points at 472, which is an overall of 51 points, unlike the Panamaxes, when it stood at 523 points. And finally, the last of the dry index, the Handys, with the BHSI, was down just 2 points at 288. Yes, you were listening, it's 288 points, which is 16 points down since last week's 304. Another barrier, the barrier of 300, was also broken. A bit of a different situation in the wets, with the BTTI up 4 points at 883 and an overall of 30 points up since last week's 853 points. And finally, the BCTI, the Baltic Clean Tanker Index, remained the same, but it has a difference of plus 10 points since last week's 512. The price of oil struggles between $41 and $42, and the geopolitics now, which really are giving us a very, very hard time and will give us more hard time unless the politicians, they come down to their knees. Otherwise, we want them to come down to their senses. This is the important issue. To come down to their senses and see how they sort out a global situation which is getting off hand. Last week, after our reporting, it was the despicable events in Paris. Brussels remains closed. Mali has been under attack, and you can imagine that this situation cannot be any more tolerated. These atrocities, which the French people, the people of Paris and others who have suffered, people who are dead, people, assassinated, this was a cold-blood assassination, people who have been injured. This is a very touching story for all of us. These events will embark now a different world order, and we have to ensure we know how to navigate, as we say in our language, in turbulent waters. I think the people and those behind them should be punished and receive the worst of all punishments. This is not anymore to understand any other side after what has happened. Now, coupled with these atrocities, we have the migrants issue, something which we have been pressing, and this issue has got off hands. You can read in the written report of this weekly recapitulation. Greece, the current coalition government, is losing some of its ministers. On the other hand, The opposition looks in disarray. Let's hope that this Sunday's election will bring something better, to have a serious opposition and together with the other parties in opposition to create a different environment and save Greece. Obviously, the appropriate thing in Greece is to have an ecumenical government and sort out these problems. Europe again is to blame for this debt. We repeat, for 41 years you don't lend a country money and you come back after 41 years to impose austerity and whatever entails after this. Ukraine, problems there. Russia is trying to get also the lead to be on par with the other powers in Syria, and of course this is a very unique phenomenon of the major powers confronting ISIS and trying to sort this out there. China, not interesting figures there. We hear of closing down of steel factories, of steel mills, etc., and this is not nice. That will cause further problems. The Islamic State, as we said earlier on, with what is happening in Iraq, in Syria, it should be finished off. Let the military do it, but to do it excellent. We repeat this. We remind you to see all our coming events, and I'm sure that we have enough for the international shipping industry to attend worldwide. It was a great event last night at the famous Beaujolais night in the Trinity House in the City of London by Bureau Veritas. Excellent Beaujolais, excellent meze, nice discussion, and of course the strength of the people of Bureau Veritas, Tonskay, who has given a new kick-up, a new start after what has happened in Paris with his countrymen being in a mess and what has happened. And of course he has shown courage, and this is very important. Just a few minutes ago we have returned back from the amazing event, the unique event that Dr. Ravi Mehrotra has organized at the London Maritime Museum in honor of the visiting Minister of Shipping, Roadworks and Tourism of India in London. This was a really great event, and I'm sure that there will be an echo of the result of this important visit. We invite you to visit the Greek islands, and it is important to understand the suffering of the Greek islanders because of Turkey's stubbornness to allow all these migrants to come over. You can read what we say every single week about this. Skopelos and Skathos in the central West Aegean islands, there is nice still. The weather is favorable there. It's like an Indian summer we have over here. It is fantastic. On the other hand, we invite people to visit Spain, another great European nation, and of course from the more international tourism destinations, we advise you to go to Montevideo in Uruguay. The weather is still good there, and enjoy the natural resources of that country and have a great holiday. We hope that you understand the message of terrorism, the message of the low market, and the message that the world economy is in a very big mess. We wish you a nice and peaceful weekend. This is John Faraclas from allaboutshipping.co.uk. Over and out.